Okay, welcome back, guys. So we're continuing on in media studies here, and we're going to go into more detail now in terms of the role of ideology in ads and looking at dissecting some ads specifically for the kind of ideology that the ad is presenting to us and trying to influence us with. And so let's just recap a little bit about ideology. What does the term mean here? So it's a term used to discuss fundamental values and beliefs of a group, society, or culture, or we can add, or an individual. Now, of course, the individual is influenced by the culture and society that they're born into, but of course, we can change, right? We don't have to always agree with the group or the society that we belong to or the culture, but certainly those will influence us. These beliefs are generally widely held and widely accepted views, okay, about things like the roles of men and women. So maybe it's about what we would say gender roles, although I guess nowadays even using the word gender gets tricky, but we'll keep it simple for now. So it could be good and bad. So we might call that morality or ethics. Okay, the nature of right and wrong, good and bad, etc. Or the nature of the good life. So the nature of the good life might be our purpose and human experience, the ideals, like what is the end goal of life, etc. Okay, as we mentioned before, it can be age, race, some other specific niche group. It can be about religion. It can be cultural. And any combination of all of these kind of all, overlap together, of course. Now, ideologies are reinforced by the dominant institutions in the society through constructed representations of the world. So whatever happens to be on the rise in the society tends to influence the overall, what we call worldview. So don't think like, oh, we're in 2020, we're really modern and we've progressed more than these, dinosaur people from other generations. No, all cultures are influenced by the dominant things happening in their society. Doesn't make it right. It just makes it most likely to dominate and influence us. How? Through constructed representations of the world and symbol systems, which often justify the current social structure and ways of living, or rebel against the existing social structure and ways of living. So if you think about, an issue like homosexuality, well, go back 100 years, it wasn't widely accepted in the culture, but because of constructed representations in media and changes in the culture and in the society and the beliefs and the worldview of people, that particular view was on the rise. Okay, sometimes this comes with codes, symbols. So you might think of things like flags, colors. All of those can be used to encode the belief system, the worldview, to give it meaning. So if I put this symbol. All right, then you're probably going to assume, okay, that's a cross. Then we're talking about Christianity. It's a symbol, right? If I put this one, then, you know, we're talking about Islam. The moon might go on the other side. So I made a mistake with the moon, you know, but you get the idea. If I made this symbol, then, you know, we're talking about Jewish religion, Jews, Judaism. All right, those are religious examples, but the point is they're symbol systems. They represent a whole worldview through the one symbol. Now, mass media also plays an important role in conveying these broadly held views and how the world really works and should work. So mass media can include now social media, you know, news stations, newspapers, internet publications, all kinds of things, Netflix, and so on. These ideas create audiences who just accept the current practices and their roles in society as normal. So as it spreads through the mainstream, it becomes the dominant view. And it's saying, like, this is how it really is. This is how these things really work. And through that messaging and the coding of the messaging, through all these different streams of media, we sort of become normalized and brainwashed. And we don't second guess the ideas that the media is bombarding with us. And so what happens is these things become the dominant ideologies. So you're not going to really see, you know, Christianity as a dominant ideology in modern Western society. Not so much. It's on the rise in Africa and China and other places, but not so much Islam as a dominant, or maybe Judaism, or any religious values, really. We're seeing anti-religious trends. Okay, but that wasn't always the case historically. So you have to ask yourself, you know, are you being influenced, or are you critically thinking why? You know, why is that? Why are they messaging me this way? Are they just using things to make money? Are they capitalizing on things like, I don't know, Black Lives Matter or Me Too movement or whatever? Remember, they're advertisers. They want to make money. Pay attention to their purpose. Now, when we move into ideology specific to advertising, they're conveyed through a specific process where the meaning is transferred, right? We talked about this before. The meaning is constructed or negotiated. So it's constructed by the creator and negotiated by the audience. So we're in that transfer process here. So take an abstract idea or a belief, right, or a value, something that's part of the ideology worldview, and it becomes represented in a product or service. Okay, so you have the idea, which is connected to the ideology, is transferred into the product. Okay, so the product represents some idea, some abstract concept. So maybe that abstract concept might be, let's say, convenience. Something's really convenient. How about mobility? Something's like portable. So whatever the concept may be, the product becomes the embodiment of that idea. Often, a form of shorthand takes place and stereotypes are used to convey the message. So because these sort of become symbolized or condensed into coded communication, like a product being a symbol, they often contain stereotypes or oversimplifications of concepts. Okay, so we have to be aware of that in the process of decoding the ideology. Now, how is this meaning transferred? Most advertising is about linking a particular product or brand to a particular set of qualities or beliefs in the consumer's mind. So they want to get in our heads and say, okay, what do people think? What do they want? How am I going to get them to believe that about my product? Okay, and then this linkage is achieved through what's called juxtaposition. We talked about that before. So placing two things beside each other. Okay, so this is about placement. And it's about proximity. How close things are to each other. Where are they placed on the screen, on the advertisement? Okay, the simple imposition of the qualities on the product in the hope that the consumer will make connections themselves. So they place things beside each other, but they don't say, this means that this product will give you peace and security. Okay, if they put a pillow beside like a tiger, I would draw that if I could, but I'm not that good at drawing. So, and it's an insurance company, you know, they're trying to say the idea of don't worry, don't have fear, rest easy. Even if some crazy random thing attacks you, you're all right. Okay, so we link, the product is linked by the consumer. The ad doesn't explain it. They want us to get involved and negotiate the meaning, because that's how they get it inside our brains more. Okay, when we negotiate, it's like, oh, the light goes on, I get it, huh? And then we like that. We think, that's interesting. All right, here are some questions you can use, some guiding questions as you do your analysis. Hopefully you'll go through the ads yourself and then watch my video or videos as I do the reading. But some of the questions you can ask are, what are the assumptions about what is natural and just and right? Okay, so that might have to do with ethics, with goodness. Okay, what's good, what's bad? Who or what has power, and how are they made to appear normal or good? And are there any negative aspects excluded, left out? So who's got the power? What do they do? Or do they look good or bad for having this power? You know, what do they leave out? Look for binaries or oppositions. A binary is two sides of something. For example, good or evil, natural, unnatural, tame or wild, young or old, etc., light and dark, etc. Okay, so you got two sides of something. Which aspect, which side of the binary is privilege? Which side seems to get the check mark and say, yeah, that's good, that's better? Think about the people, the classes, the areas of life, the experiences. Are any of them left out or silenced? So look for omissions. And finally, what cultural assumptions and what myths are represented? What is mystified or mythologized? So we talked about before a natural setting for smokers, maybe a gentle rocking chair in a white room for mothers. You can think about something like the American dream. Okay, that's a modern myth that has a whole connection of ideas to it that are a package that we assume, and you know, as soon as you hear the phrase, a whole bunch of things go through your mind and you think, oh yeah, the American dream. Okay, so think about modern myths. How is that represented to us? What assumptions are there? All right, in the next video we'll dissect some ads using this framework.